Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boss Rush Podcast. I am your host, Parasite Eddie, coming live with you guys. And joining me on this wonderful episode is the Phantom Beats, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
And of course, the fatality, Mr. LeRon Douglas.
Hey, everybody.
Had you got a chance to fight him?
Yes, I have. I've been labbing it because I need to learn. Like the monster has phases and odd stuff, which is not a new thing to Monster Hunter, but it's a new thing for that particular monster because the last few times that he's been in a Monster Hunter game, it's been kind of straightforward. So this new incarnation of him is actually one of the. Monster Hunter World just did this thing where like every returning monster from previous games has felt like fresh and new and kind of unique. Like they still have like their core values of what they were from previous games, but everything about it now just is like man, this wasn't what I expected for this battle. It's so awesome.
Did you see the Monster Hunter Rise with the bird doing the Dragon Punch? I was like, "Oh, this game is going to be on in the pop."
I hadn't seen that, but that's core Capcom right there. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, the clip came out this week, and me and another Twitter friend were talking about it. We're just like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to sync up." I've been picking and choosing the news I see for the game because I want to be as pleasantly surprised as possible. Like I've been doing that for a while where I don't actually like look at every news drop that comes out from Monster Hunter games. Like I'll do it for other games, but I try not to do it for every news drop that comes out from Monster Hunter games because I want to go on as blind as possible, especially when like the next Monster Hunter World will technically be the sixth the numbered 6th game in the series. Monster Hunter World right now is the 5th numbered game. They're moving away from the numbered games because of this transition with hardware and technology and stuff like that. So Monster Hunter World 2 or whatever they decide to call it will be the 6th generation of the series. And I want to say around after Monster Hunter Tri, which is the 3rd generation of the series, after that I stopped trying to look at every possible thing because Monster Hunter Tri left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, you know what, I need something different so I don't get jaded as fast. And of course, Jesse been dropping them hot beats, and I do like. So, LeRon, I've been telling Jesse because he's been letting me hear stuff and asking me questions, and I think you had 2 of them out, Jesse. One of them I know.
One of them
album.
Oh yeah, one of them isn't quite finished. I haven't gotten back to it because I kind of started because a lot of times I'll like start something and then not finish it, but then I'm feeling like I want to make something new and kind of step away from the first one so I can, like just kind of let it sit and and see if I come up with something else that I want to do to it. Yeah, because a lot of the times the songs I'll just keep on changing it if I don't just like get to a point where I want to. Because
would you let me listen to the album track? It's in the process. I couldn't say nothing, and if I can't say nothing, and just all I can say is just create because that track you sent me was so on fire. I literally wanted to bang it in my car, and I'm just like, this is too short of a track and I can't do this just yet. Like it was literally on it was popping. And then the 8-bit one, I was just like, okay, you got to go ahead and work on what you're working on. We could change a little bit of this, but the track is hot, dude. You've been banging some hot. You continue to bang some hot tracks, and I just can't help it. So I gotta give you some your props. I gotta give you a little bit of praise because your track, this bang, dude. You literally been in the lab.
Oh, you cut out, Ed. Your mic cut out.
Oh, I was just like, I literally wanted.
LeRon disappeared on my screen. I don't know if he.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, you just. Yeah, sorry about that. I had a guest.
Oh, okay. All right.
I literally was just like, I just want to go up to Appleton and just kick with Jesse for a day or two and just like make tracks and just listen. I mean, we'll go out to eat first. But yeah. But everybody, that's just just showing love and getting the intro, because this is episode 66 of the Boss Rush podcast, where you guys can find us at Boss Rush. Guys know the days. Each and every week we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You can join us live on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGames Live and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the shows or listen on your podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability, and check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. So just want to give you guys a quick rundown. You guys can check out Arsenal X for this week. The guys talk about some of their favorite Xbox One launch games that were on it, so do check that out. You also can check out Nintendo Power Block with me, Celeste, and Corey. We do a good talk about snacks. I will be making my slow cook Sloppy Joes this coming Monday. So you guys want to tune in live to hear how that goes. I'm so excited. Tuesday was Crossroads, and they did their top 4 favorite games of PlayStation. Their top 10, I think 10 out of 10, like their top 4.
Our perfect 10s.
Yes, so do check that out. I'm still trying to get on the podcast, and I can't wait.
and between the four of us, we walked away at one bona fide. If we declared one game the perfect 10 for the entire life cycle of PlayStation 4.
Yes, and
check out the podcast to hear the results.
Can I say, like for Arsenal X, man, I'm still trying to. I apologize. I want everybody to Corey. I didn't get the full list of it when we was talking yesterday, so my apology. I really want to go back because I've been trying to go back to see what first party games I'm missing for Xbox and for PlayStation. I know for Xbox, is Grounded, Wasteland 3, and I think there's another one. I think I got most of PlayStation, but I'm thinking I'm missing some. The VR stuff I'm not counting. I want to make sure that I got everything for this generation because I'm still doing my Nintendo stuff, and I want to play them and beat them. I told Jesse LeRon that Call of Duty I'm delaying to December, so I'm not going to get it when it comes out.
Black Ops Cold War?
Yeah. Because the Cyberpunk and Hyrule, Age of Empire, not Age of
whatever. We already know in the chat that you're disragging Cyberpunk, so don't even try it.
I'm not disragging it. I invite. See everybody. I love you, LeRon. But I'm excited for you, Jesse, if you're picking it up on Series X.
Because the medium doesn't come out until December, so
right. And I was gonna hit you up to get your thoughts on it, but I think that kind of works for both of us. Because go ahead.
Because with Cyberpunk and Call of Duty and stuff coming out, like that's fine with me. That's the thing. I'm gonna, everyone's gotta remember too that's getting an Xbox. There's so many games that we're gonna want to go back to and see how they perform, and just like that first couple of months is honestly gonna be just like trying to
it's like a rediscovery phase.
Yeah,
it's like a rediscovery phase.
Yeah, because I don't game on PC, so and even then I know PC, loading speeds and stuff are quick and all that, but like with the quick resume and all those kinds of other features that still are kind of like brand new, like there's just going to be a lot of, like really honestly, that's the thing is like, for me, it's about the tech and like the consoles kind of somewhat being a little bit more caught up than they've been in the past,
Yeah. Because I think I'm probably because I know Series X is probably going to be sold out for a while. I think Series X and PlayStation 5 probably going to be sold out for a bit for November if they could restock it. So I think by the time December or even January, I can even wait till January. The medium I am going to buy.
Can I say Sony and Microsoft are going to go into their own little crunch to get these systems out for holiday?
Yeah, like we've heard in the past where they like throw a whole bunch of them on a plane and
yeah, I can see.
Hey, the planes aren't being used any way else, barely. So
somebody's gonna get some work. Some airlines or somebody's gonna get some work.
Pay for some seats.
Yeah,
they're gonna strap each Xbox in a seat and. Like,
okay,
could you imagine just getting on a plane and
just don't put them on the Boeing Max planes and you'd be all right.
Can you just figure just walking through a plane, looking around, be like, oh, here's my seat. What the world is this Xbox in the and the PlayStation? Oh wow. Jesse, you won today already. I can't.
He'll solve an employment crisis.
That is true. That is very true. So everybody, we're gonna get into our gaming get down of things that we've been playing. I'm actually going to start first. I've been playing more of Dead Space. I am on chapter 5. At this time, I am. Okay, so on Crossroads, I made a comment that the shooting part feels like an Insomniac game, like Ratchet and Clank, and it was when you're shooting the meteors and everything. Okay.
That's the meteor part. Is that the meteor part you were talking about? Okay, I thought you were talking about the part where you're walking on the outside of the ship.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I was able to get through that part. That part was easy.
Yeah.
Into the thing and shooting it, and I'm just like, okay, on both sides you got the ammo. Why not just let me continue to auto shoot? Why stop the shooting? Because the thing about it is the asteroids, they were coming, and you got to try to balance it out. But it takes off so much energy, and when you're trying to move the thing to hit it, it's too slow, and the meteorite has already hit you. So trying to go back and do it, it was just like you don't really. I had to do the thing about 5 or 6 times to get it done. And when I made Insomniac and Ratchet and Clank, some of the levels they have that where you're shooting different things or bombs that's coming to you for it, and those shooting sections are so long. And then when you have it where they stop you from shooting, so you could like load back up or it could cool down to shoot again, it makes it frustrating when you're trying to hit multiple things and they take off a lot of chunk of your energy. But I was able to pass it. So I was just like, I hate when games I just hate when games do this.
Yeah, they definitely tried to make that a little bit more difficult than it had to be. Like I agree, but because that it is like I figured that was the part you were talking about, like most of the time. But I was like, well, I wonder if he's talking about that part, or because I was sure it was that, because that was definitely was a frustrating part. I don't know how many times it took me to beat the first time I played it, but I think last time when I streamed it, I think it took me like 2 or 3 times. But yeah, I think you have to do that. No, you only do it once, or is it twice?
It's twice.
I forget. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, so I have to do it at another part later on in the game.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so towards the end, maybe.
Here's one thing I will say, because hooray for manufactured difficulty. They put that in there and that mechanic in there just to make it more difficult. But just imagine if while Isaac's shooting, he has to get up from that cannon and fend off necromorphs while he's trying to keep the ship from getting battered.
Yeah.
It could have always been worse.
Yeah.
So
it's that's one of those things that game does, especially when they flip, like when you get grabbed by the tentacle, thing, and your sense of direction gets all messed up. man, those parts are just like sometimes.
Thank God for that flamethrower. That bug to death.
Yeah. See, and I would try to use the regular like pistol, like the first one, the little line gun,
the plasma cutter.
Yeah, the plasma cutter. Like, can we just speak about that for a second? Like, are the plasma cutters and stuff, the rail gun, not like the best gun ever?
Oh yeah.
Dude, okay,
I freaking love when you cut things in half, and it's just like
it's
so amazing.
LeRon talked about that because he was just like, LeRon said when he first played it took him a while, but he upgraded the cutter, and you said you ran through it like within 2 hours. Dude, it has saved my life many a times in that game.
Okay, like, when I found out there was an achievement and a trophy called the One Gun Trophy, and basically it was you run through the entire game using only the plasma cutter. That's when I realized the plasma cutter is OP. If you get it noted all the way out.
Yep.
And as soon as like I said, my first run to Dead Space, I was playing around and I was messing around with all the weapons. Like I had set weapons that I liked. Plasma cutter, the line racks, which was basically the big version of the plasma cutter.
Yep.
And then the force gun, which basically is like a shotgun basically, but it has like
uses force instead of an actual.
Yeah. And then so I played with those weapons in my first run. Like I said, my first run, I think I beat it in like four nights because I'm slow and scary games do stress me out some. So I get to a point where, you're playing like a dark 30 at night and stuff, and you got the sound on and everything, and it's like and you're getting tired of hearing anything scratching around in walls behind you through your surround sounds. Like, okay, I'm putting this down for the night and stuff like that. So it took me about 4 days to beat it, four nights to beat it.
Dude,
but after I found out about the trophy and the achievement, I was like, okay, I New Game Plused it, and I just every node I found I put into the plasma cutter.
That's what I was going to ask. Does the game have New Game Plus?
It does.
It does. Okay, so then I'll probably run it again because, man, talking about horror, and I always talk about Resident Evil 4 with the garden, with the woods and those tentacles. That is the best jump scare moment of me. The tense moment is when Ashley's on the top of the rails and you got to try to defend her while still fighting the enemies. And if she get kidnapped, you got to try to like hit them and stuff. That's a tense battle, but that's Resident Evil 4. I know how Jesse you feel about it, so I won't talk more about that. But yeah, I'm enjoying Dead Space.
Well, I like the story of that game kind of, but it's just everything else around that I just didn't get into.
Yeah,
but
I will say.
I still say if they remake that game, I'll probably love it as long as they fix, like have better controls, like where you can actually move while you're shooting.
I think they're gonna pick up the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake controls for Resident Evil 4. They need to.
If they did that would be amazing.
Because everybody has bitched about all the ports of Resident Evil 4 since the GameCube version. Have said, why can't we move and shoot? There are games out now that we can move and shoot. Why can't?
I think one of the reasons was that because, and this is my logic when I was first thinking of it, is that most of the enemies in Resident Evil 4 are coming straight for you. You're not thinking of enemies on the side, where Dead Space feels like it's so open that enemies could come anywhere. So you need time to be able to move while still shooting. Yes, I'll give it to Dead Space. And Jesse, when we was talking about it, I started thinking about it after our conversation. I'm just like, okay, I understand what he is saying in this. Because if you that part where you're like in a town in the Resident Evil 4, I think before you get too close where the farm is at, but all of those enemies coming around, you need to move. And if you can move and shoot at the same time, it will work wonders. And that's when the Dead Space idea came in to be like, okay, if Resident Evil 4 had this kind of section that's in Dead Space, completely agree. If they do that in Resident Evil 4 remake, of course it's Resident Evil 4. I'm gonna buy it anyway. I'm still going to. Go ahead.
Well, and I think the controls in Resident Evil 4 would have worked well if they were just the slow moving zombies, but they moved a little bit faster and they could kind of come at you faster, and so that's where even the ability to just back up, even just the ability to back up while you're shooting to like move back as they're moving towards. You know, like just I think that's mostly what I think it needed. But I think part of the problem too is, you know, like remember there like wasn't that made for only having one joystick basically? They didn't really, you know, they didn't build it around two joysticks per se. So and I think that's why you couldn't move while you were shooting, because they weren't making it with the idea of two analog sticks in mind.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was something new for Capcom, and it was kind of a new kind of gameplay idea. And you wouldn't expect that, because like I said, that was when Resident Evil was going into a new direction. That was the second time it was going in a new direction, with Resident Evil 7 being the third, going into that new direction.
You know what would almost be kind of interesting is if they somehow, like, I think they could get the same sense of feeling that you had when playing Resident Evil 4. If what they did is you would do your regular, you know, the regular third person when you're running around and stuff, but when you aim down sight, it would go into first person almost.
Kind of almost,
you know, have that sense of like you see them coming towards you kind of thing, like I don't know, like I think that would be interesting if they did both.
Okay, so I would drop my controller and scream, because when you're in the house with the other person and all the zombies are coming upstairs and downstairs and you got to try to survive, I was screaming because I got to keep running it and everything. Yeah, I can see that happen. Oh goodness, I'm not ready for that.
Because like, you know, like some of the third person games we have, you know, do that where if you're looking down a scope, then it goes into first person. You know, but only if you go into, you know, a scope. But like I think that would be interesting if they almost mixed the Resident Evil 7 style with the remake style, where you could kind of like when you're looking down certain sights, or when you're looking down sight of the gun, it would just kind of really quick and all you see is your hands holding the pistol in front of you. Like, I think that would be kind of interesting if they did something like that.
And definitely fitting for a PSVR, or even if it comes out for Series X and whenever they have VR for it. Yes, I think that frightening feeling that you get, but yet still somewhat feel like an action star, that would be amazing. That would literally be amazing. But Dead Space is what I'm just going to talk about. That's what I've been playing. LeRon, what have you been getting down to?
Well, I made my triumphant return back to Monster Hunter because the final DLC is out now, and I've got to play the boss dragon that I haven't seen since Monster Hunter 4. So Fatalis is back, so that's where a lot of my time has been spent. But I have been playing Hades like late at night on my Switch.
Okay, is it addictive?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
You know what's crazy? I did not get it when it was on the Epic Store, the Epic Game Store, because of the fact that it was early development. I was like, I don't typically mess with games like that. So when they finally announced it was coming over to like the consoles and stuff, I was like, okay, it's no longer early access. It can't be. So I picked it up, and I already knew what it was like. It's basically a clone of Diablo. That's basically what it is. But what shocked me about it was you sit down, you start playing it, and it's one of those fight, die, repeat type games, which, you know, can get stale real fast, but they keep it unique and interesting because the labyrinth is always reconfiguring itself every time you start over. And so once I figured out, like, the doors give you clues to what loot is in the next room, I started taking advantage of that. I was like, oh, this gives me a new weapon. Oh, this will get me money. and and so I've been having a lot of fun with it. And like I said, like it's a good time waster for like the last 35 minutes at night when I'm in bed in the dark. And I'm sitting
can I tell you? That's the same thing I do. Besides yesterday, I was playing a little bit before I went to work. I'm just like, I don't know what it's about this game, but playing it at night before you go to bed it works. It just works.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter and Hades, and I can't wait for Foregone on Tuesday. That's gonna be a time sucker for me. And somehow I gotta get that in because I'm getting ready to start my my live Twitch stream of Dead Space tonight.
Nice.
I'm trying to run all 3 games by the end of the month.
Nice. Look, I was going to start Mass Effect yesterday, and it's just like, oh yeah, let me start Mass Effect. You need the disc. I'm like, dang it!
Dude, I'm having such a hard time coming. Like, I keep on like thinking of like a game that I want to play through next, and then a couple days later I think of something else that I want to play through next, and I keep on. What was the other game the other day? Because like I want to go through Dead Space 2 as well eventually, but I don't know. Like I want to go. Oh, I wanted to because I haven't finished it yet. I want to finish Outer Worlds.
I need to pick. I've got that on Game Pass, and I need to play that because it caught my eye. But the problem is like I suck at first person shooter games. So
it's a good game for streaming though because there's so much shenanigans in that game, and
it almost feels like it's basically. I don't want to say this in a negative way, but it feels like it's copying Borderlands' mechanics for the most part. Is it a looter shooter? Is it?
Well, yeah, but it's more of Fallout. It's okay. Fallout. It's like, in my opinion, it's almost like Fallout mixed with Mass Effect.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion,
in first person. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have the game. I have the game. It's just kind of like a failure to launch thing. Like I haven't committed myself to saying I'm going to play it just yet.
I started a little bit of it, but I gotta pop it in and work on it some more.
Though the greatest part about that game, like the first time I play it, because I've started it like multiple times, made different characters.
Yeah.
Because the first time I played it, I played this character, like my character that I made just kills anyone who he comes in contact with, and it's just great that you can just. So I killed everyone, and then all of a sudden the whatever federation or whatever that you're working with, they sent what's it called, like at your job, the people that you go to, like if someone's harassing you or whatever, I can't think of it. Who are the people that you talk to if you got to make a complaint about like another employee or whatever?
Let's just call them HR.
Yeah, HR. Yeah. So they send someone from HR to come and talk to me because I was killing everyone, and then I just straight up murdered him too.
We may have to book club the Outer Worlds next year.
Oh my god, that game is just something else, man.
Well, Jesse, let's hop into what have you been getting down to. Then we're gonna get into news.
I really, unfortunately, I'm almost done with it now. Like, trying to finish all the stuff for this season of Fortnite. Because like what they have, like I'm on the last, I think the last set of outfits for all the Marvel characters that you unlock this season. So like it's everyone's outfit, but it's like almost looks like a silver, but it changes. It's all rainbow colored. So like things like Groot, and who are all one solid color. He just looks like he's made out of like a silver, but that's like rainbow colored. And then The same with Doctor Doom and Wolverine, where he's just a solid like silver. He looks like he's a full silver character with rainbow colors all over.
Yeah,
and the outfits just look awesome. But also the side like kind of hidden outfit is if you do all the weekly challenges, you get the Logan version of Wolverine, where he's just wearing a tank top and jeans or whatever. So I'm trying to get everything done so I can hopefully unlock that thing as well. Nice. my son Max is actually, he's gonna be one of the fish guys for Halloween this year from Fortnite. So
I still I got to get my red dye. And I'll probably get it at work today, and to some black stuff. I am gonna go ask the black Hayabusa for Boss Rush Halloween on the 31st, that episode. Because I'm getting a mohawk cut, LeRon, and I'm gonna dye it.
Oh, really?
Here. Yeah, so you're gonna see the blood spatter like on my mask and stuff, and then a little bit of blood on my eye. So I might be doing some makeup special effects, and I'm going to be the black Huyabasa. My specialty is destroying Karens and
oh god,
and numbnuts.
So basically, you're just gonna harass people at work all day.
Oh no, it's just gonna be for the show. I gotta take all of that off.
Oh, okay.
So one of our associates took the Halloween day off, and so I gotta work that day. So I'm like, but that's all you've been doing in Fortnite, Jesse?
I did play a little bit of what else? There's a couple of games that I just played a little bit of. But that was mostly it. I haven't honestly, other than that, I haven't really been getting a chance to focus on doing much gaming lately.
Jess, did you recommend a game that was free that was on Xbox?
Oh yeah, the Power Star golf game.
Is this still free?
I believe it. I think they've actually turned it into a free to play game, like permanently. Okay. I think it's just a game on Xbox that's just free to play.
Free. I'm going to download it. I'm going to download it tonight.
It's fun. It's so much fun to play it like with friends. Like that was one of those games because it's a newer version, but they did have another version of it. Mm-hmm. I think it was more focused on mini golf last time or something like that. Uh-huh. But it was on the 360, and I used to play that a lot on 360 with friends. So
I'm going to download it tonight, and we'll find a day when we're trying to play. And everybody, if you have Game Pass, fun. If you guys have Game Pass Ultimate on PC, Forza Motorsport 7 is free. I have downloaded the game.
I think it's just free to play. Period. I think it's free to. Oh
no! I was talking about Forza Motorsport being on.
Oh, Forza. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's up. If you guys have Game Pass for PC or Ultimate, is free to play there. I've downloaded it for my Xbox One, and I really need to jump in and play. But we're going to get into this mini boss talk, because we're doing part 2 of the CD Projekt Red crunch story. So everybody get your Nestle bar crunches, and I'm going to hand this part over to LeRon because he wasn't able to be on last week's show, but I want to hear thoughts about it. We have been talking about it. More info has came out, and Jason Schreier has kind of been acting a little bit unprofessional. He's
acting a fool. Let's just put it that way.
But Ron, what are your thoughts?
Okay, honestly, here's my thing about it. Jason Schreier, he's a wonderful source to get information about anything that's developing, in the landscape of video games and in the industry. But honestly, his level of journalism or reporting, as you can say, that's questionable in my honest opinion, and it's mainly because
it was already brought into question, but before this, but the whole CD Projekt Red thing with Cyberpunk 27 and the staff going under crunch, that finally made me realize that the guy, he does that sensationalism journalism. Like if we were to put him like in a regular news network, he probably would be a CNN reporter, in my opinion.
Ooh. In
my opinion, because let's run through this real fast. Okay. Jason Schreier gets word from some people from CD Projekt Red, some of the staff that are working on Cyberpunk 2077, that they've started going under crunch and stuff like that. He has conversations with them, and he puts out a report. First he puts out a tweet about CD Projekt Red is doing crunch, and didn't he try to frame it like Cyberpunk was in trouble or something?
He was trying to say more of, not saying that it was in trouble or anything. He was trying to link it back to when they reported it, when CD Projekt Red said that they would never do crunch, that they don't believe in it and all of that stuff. So he was trying to make it seem that they were going back on their word. Well, when the tweet came out about it.
Well, if the paraphrasing from what the leads to CD Projekt Red, if the paraphrasing is to be read a certain way, they said that they did not want to undergo having to do crunch for Cyberpunk. I mean, these games have been in development for years. They want to avoid that as much as possible, and they were going to try to stick to that. But when this comes out, basically it's kind of like he forced their hand, and he didn't have all the information, honestly, because maybe there's a little bit of reneging on the part of the leads of the team for CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. Maybe there is some of that going on, but at the same time, if he had reached out and asked the proper questions, he'd have found out what was going on. What we know for sure is that CD Projekt Red, like the whole staff, like they've been asked to work one extra weekend until the release of the game, which means at that point it was 6 weeks of one extra weekend. And that was one day of the weekend. It wasn't even like they were just going straight 7 days and stuff like that. They're getting paid their overtime, and they're getting compensated their overtime based on whatever the employment regulation rules are for that territory, because they're a Polish company, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're being compensated on under the regulatory laws of employment over there. Also, it has been brought out that once the game has been released and is launched, that the staff not only is going to be able to take vacations, they're also getting a considerable bonus based off of the revenue shares of the company.
10%, and that might seem small, but that's a lot for a game like that.
Corey did the math, and he said it's slightly over $50,000 US dollars, and based on the economy over there, that's significant. As a matter of fact, we said it on a couple of shows for Crossroads. That much money, that's a whole salary to some of us over here in the United States. So just imagine how much money that is for those guys over there in the European Union.
And people, and I think people don't realize that just using The Witcher 3 as an example of selling, that game has been out for years and it still sells, whether it was on console, PC, anytime that game goes on sale, someone is still buying it.
And they're re-releasing it for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5.
And it's going to sell.
Trust me. CD Projekt Red, that staff, they're getting all sorts of royalties and stuff like that. And Logan, Nelly, Austin, and myself said over at Crossroads, like if the staff feels a certain type of way about this, all they gotta say is, "Hey, I work at CD Projekt Red. We got Cyberpunk. We got The Witcher. I can take my resume anywhere and work for wherever I want, or." They might be able to pitch themselves and start their own companies to another corporation out there, stuff like that. So basically, Jason Schreier, and I'm trying to be respectful here, but Jason Schreier, he basically put out a hit piece because it ultimately launched on Bloomberg about he put an article out on Bloomberg about it. But when you read it, And Ed, you said it last week on the podcast on the show that I wasn't able to be on. I had obligations. But you said it, like, basically he was using crunch as a way to put more negative light on the gaming industry, which is disingenuous for someone like Jason Schreier, because he's supposed to be reporting on video games and news. He's supposed to be we think of these reporters most of the times as our allies, because 9 times out of 10, like, someone in Congress or somebody in the government is always coming for our video games, trying to say, like, it's this bad thing and, like, it shouldn't be a part of our lives and all stuff. And then here he goes sensationalizing something, but half-assing it in the same in the same vein.
Yeah, that's where the issue is. Like I personally, I do understand what he part of what he's trying to do, and I do think that it is a good thing that we try to keep these things in the light, and we watch, and we get a chance to make sure that if anything bad is happening in the industry, like for developers and all that sake, that people be held accountable. But at the same time, you don't just grab every situation and throw the hammer down on it, because like you're saying, you've got to make sure that the situation is whether it's being handled poorly or it's being handled appropriately. And I do feel like this situation was being handled a little bit more appropriately, and a little bit more respectfully, whereas not all cases in the past have been. Like these people are being compensated, and and the head up apologized for it, and it seems like he honestly, if he had a choice, it would not have come to this. And it's the last thing that he wanted to do. But unfortunately, you get to a point where the game is almost finished, and why drag it on for another year when we can just quick get it done? Get it done, and then we can take a long break.
I think the thing about it is that he didn't finish his reporting, or he didn't hear from the managers or something.
I feel like he didn't go to the management. That's the way I feel. Go ahead.
Because when the story broke and the management team came out and spoke about it, that's when they mentioned like the compensation and, admitted that, yes, we are doing crunch. We are doing this one extra day, but this is the benefits that's coming from it. And that's when we, as a gaming community, didn't know about it. A lot of the people who not read the story, but read the tweet, the first thing that a lot of people said was, go ahead and delay it. We have no problem if this game had to get delayed. Nobody was expected. If it would have kind of delayed, everybody was just like, yep, I'm buying the Xbox Series X version, or I'm buying the PlayStation 5 version. And if it's still coming to Xbox One, if you don't got a Series X, people are going to get that version. And so people still just like, take your time, CD Projekt Red, we're still going to buy that game. But didn't realize how close to go that the game was going. When the story broke, when they came out and they said all of this stuff, the gaming community went and had words, or was trying to get understanding from Jason Schreier, be like, okay, they have responded now to you, so what are you going to say about it?
Let me take this.
Whatever way that you came across to Jason Schreier, he has went on to like block action mode in a kind of sense, and some of our Boss Rush members have gotten blocked. I won't say who, but
the maniacal laugh doesn't mean I got blocked.
But he should have been able to make a piece or written or or be in. He should have came out and literally apologized to CD Projekt Red, saying that I'm sorry that I'm like, what the information I got at that time from what you guys said is what I ran with. I didn't know that all of this other stuff was coming out because and probably for a lot of us, we probably felt like if none of this was ever said, we wouldn't have found out about the compensation stuff.
Ed, you're putting too many words in that guy's mouth, because at the end of the day, this guy's a grown man. He's worried. He's doing things for his own career and stuff like that. And I guarantee you, based on his history of how he's reported stuff, this isn't the first time this stuff has happened. This isn't. Like I said, he sensationalizes stuff that he can, and he does hit pieces on other things like that. I've got his Twitter profile pulled up right now. Yesterday, he put out a tweet. A Game Informer podcast recently suggested that my reporting on Cyberpunk 2077's crunch is incorrect. Never mind that I've interviewed nearly a dozen CDPR devs. Here's an email from studio head Alan Badowski in June 2020 apologizing to developers partners for all the overtime. I'm going to read the excerpt from the article.
Oh, go ahead.
Per Adam. Adam says, "Hey, I think there's no need for long introductions on this one. We've moved the date again to November 19th. So this was when they made the final release date for it, because remember, after they said the game was delayed until November, they said this is the final pushback for this game. Remember that? Then that was in the summer. Okay. Going back to the article, and I know it's a bittersweet moment for many of you. On the one hand, we're happy because we've gained the extra time we all know we need for the game to really shine. On the other, we're sad because it means a longer period of intensive work, and we are all running on fumes. I would like to offer you some sort of solve-it-all explanation, but I can't find any. The truth is, we need to finish the game, and we won't finish it for September." Okay,
right.
That one paragraph right there. Go ahead.
Time. Oh, and at that time before, just to let everybody know that CD Projekt Red did say that the game was done, but they had to delay because they were working on the bugs and stuff. That was for that, just to give people, if they don't remember, in case. But go ahead, LeRon. I'm sorry.
Okay, that one paragraph alone, that should tell you something right there. You know, I will say this, like at my age, like I've just recently become like more aware of how things go on a business perspective and stuff like that. Them undergoing crunch, them trying to get it out before December. This is them trying to make their year-end goal for their company, because once we knew that Cyberpunk 2077 was coming, and once we started the timeline of how the development was going, we knew it was going to be a make or break year for CD Projekt Red. And that's one thing. So, you know, the money that they're going to make on the upside once the game sells is going to offset all the other stuff that happens, you know, for the time that they may have lost in development, things like that. But let me go ahead and go back to the excerpt now. Adam continues. What I can offer is telling you this. Each day we spend on polishing the game visibly pays off. We've just started the previews and first impressions from Piet Smith and Game Informer, and are very enthusiastic. And it's because of your extreme dedication over the last weeks and days. I hope that when the previews drop on the 25th of June, remember this was back in June when he did this. We all get an extra confidence boost. Okay, now this next paragraph is highlighted. If I could wish for anything, I would like to humbly ask you endure in the effort to deliver this game. I would also like to extend an apology to your partners and ask for their support as well. Dear partners, I am fully aware that the hard work of your loved ones often means that they cannot participate on the home front, but I promise this is the last stretch and the finish line is near. All this hard work is going to lead to Cyberpunk 2077 becoming one of the, if not the most memorable games of this generation. I am sure of that. Yours truly, Adam. Okay, so he puts that in there. He adds that excerpt into that tweet, and then he fails to show, like, I don't know, it just has a lack of empathy from Jason Schreier, and it's because he's doubling down on his original language when he wrote the story 2 weeks ago, and that's what's led to, like, now that everyone, the audience, us, like the gamers, people who are invested in stuff like this, when people started asking questions like, hey, Did you not hear that they're compensating their guys? Did you hear that this is being taken care of? Did you hear this has to be done and stuff like that? Then he turns around and he starts going on a blocking spree. Like he doesn't want to engage in any conversation. And you know what? That's the one thing that kind of burns me up about internet culture. Like if you are okay, you know what? LeRon's going to get real now. If you're man enough to put something out, there like that, you need to be man enough to have conversations. And you know, it's one of those F your feelings moments. Sit down, use your big boy language, and have a conversation about this stuff. Because when everybody's turning around telling you, hey, what you did was nice, but you did some things wrong about it, you should be able to turn around and say, okay, this is why I did it. But he's not even justifying why he did it. He doesn't even want, and you know what? I don't need to be a mind reader. He wanted to get as many hits as he can in his Bloomberg article. Plain and simple.
And I really don't think he got, I don't know how many hits that he got. Like I said, everybody was just like, oh, they're doing crunch. Okay, delay the game. We're fine with that. Like I said, but Jesse, I'm gonna let you have the last word on it. I'm sorry, we got to move on. But go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, really, the only thing I have to say is, you know, that's the thing is a lot of people, I feel like most people, like I said, to a certain extent, agree with him that yes, like, you know, people do having to do crunch and stuff. Like it is something that's not great, but you know, it's a case by case basis. And, you know, and like we've talked about before, there unfortunately a lot of jobs, like there's a lot of jobs out there where people have to work overtime and they don't really have a choice, but that's something that you know sign up for when you take the job. But also at the same time, most of those jobs aren't going to be getting paid, you know, and bonuses and things like that, like they are to have to work overtime, you know, forcefully and things like that. So, you know, like there's a lot of jobs that don't get compensated for things like that. You're just expected to just deal with it. And they're actually doing something above and beyond, you know, and so like, in my opinion, that is doing it right. But I do get it. We should be vigilant on how people are being treated at these jobs.
Exactly.
And make sure that people aren't doing this kind of stuff too often, you know, like, so yeah, that's the thing. That's just the funny part about it is a lot of people do agree with him to certain extents about what he said, but it's when there's the little slip-ups and things that people feel like were being done wrong that, yeah, he just decides to block people. And even if you partially agree with him, but he'd rather block people or whatever. And like, you know, like you said, if you're going to put something out like that, you've got to have the conversation that you were trying to start.
Accept responsibility. You know? Here, let me devote 30 more seconds.
LeRon, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Take the last word for me.
So on September 29th, he puts a tweet out. Last year, the bosses of CD Projekt Red approached me for an interview. They want to announce at Cyberpunk 2077 that they would be avoiding mandatory crunch. This week, they sent an email to staff announcing studio-wide crunch, and he published the article that same day. Now I've been looking at some stuff, and a couple of hours later on that same day, Jason Schreier tweets, "Lots of angry gamers to block today. I'll keep reporting on the actions of video game companies, no matter how beloved they are, or how many nasty messages gamers send my way. As always, anyone in gaming with a story to tell can reach me securely at his email address." Now, since then, right, I've noticed the article has been updated on Bloomberg. If you go to the end of the article, it says paragraph 7 has updates. He puts in there in a post on Twitter Wednesday, Badowski says CD Projekt Red employees can continue to count on bonus payouts amounting to 10% of the company's annual profit. This could prove to be a lucrative sum, as analysts estimate Warsaw's based companies' net income will rise 11-fold to $2 billion zloty. I guess that's the currency, which is $520 million in 2020. CD Projekt Red had 1,079 employees at the end of June. So he snuck that in there, but I just looked through his whole tweet chain. He didn't put anything about that in his tweet chain. And here we are. Here we are. He just basically wants to sensationalize crunch. He wants to make it seem like it's a bad thing. And you know what? I'm not even saying crunch is a good thing nor a bad thing.
No,
it fits on both sides of the equation, you know, on both sides of the line, depending on where you're at, you know.
Yeah, how you handle it.
That's basically the last thing I want to say about that. You know, out there, you know, if you guys like, it's good that Jason Schreier is a good source. Look at the information, and then like everything else with the internet, go and look up and figure out the clues for yourself, because then you're not always getting the absolute every bit of the story. You have to go and do your research. This is why we have somebody in the White House always screaming fake news, and just like Jason Schreier, he's committing fake news.
Yeah, and speaking of crazy news, Microsoft and GameStop are getting partnership together for, I guess, to save the business. I have not one idea. So they announced, GameStop announced that they are partnership with Microsoft, for future content to do for their business and stuff. And this seems more of a digital kind of thing with xCloud and other stuff benefiting the employees in the business on the self. The employees going to be getting Surface tablets, and there's probably going to be more information coming out because everybody's still trying to figure out what this whole thing is. I think all three of us and everybody on the Bosch team could, I like literally agree without no argument that this saved GameStop. Like there's no ands, ifs, buts about it. This saved GameStop. I know LeRon, you was hoping for them to go under sometime soon.
Oh God! You just had to make me the bad guy, didn't you? You just had to put it out there, didn't you? Okay. Yes, as a former GameStop employee, yeah, this kind of sideswiped me, this news and stuff like that, because in all honesty, and here's what I'm going to say about it, and I'm going to say this real quick, and I'm going to let you guys handle it. GameStop has been failing to adapt its business practices based around the changing landscape of video games and the gaming industry. When the gaming industry was making strides, GameStop was doing things that was trying to make the industry adapt to their small scope versus GameStop adapting to their scope. And then we saw like things culminate. Sony stopped putting digital cards out for all their games. You can't buy a digital card direct from a vendor. You have to go to the PlayStation Store if you want to buy the game digitally. Things like that. That's just one thing I can think of. Yes. But GameStop had been failing to embrace the change towards the digital age, embrace the change toward it. They kind of embrace the change toward microtransactions, because you walk into a GameStop store, you always see like the currency cards for all the games and all the different online sites and stuff like that. They did that, but GameStop's buy, sell, and trade culture has been coming to an end for a long time. And I remember back when the Xbox 360 was getting launched, one of the key people at Microsoft was saying, how do we stop the used game industry? They were saying that because GameStop's model, even though it was great for us gamers back then, GameStop's model was hurting the games industry. Like it was making it hard for, like, for example, CD Projekt Red. They couldn't get all their royalties from their games, because like everybody's going in buying a used game, even they're saving $5-10 on it, they're no longer getting the sales, and now it's pure profit going into somebody else's pocket for something you spent 7, 8, 9 years on. Like, look, I keep going back to Crunch, but CD Projekt Red is going into Crunch, and this is going to be their one payout for the game, honestly.
But you got to remember, that's how PlayStation 4 won this generation, was because of the USL battle, when Microsoft talked about not, trying to stop a little bit of that. But all of that changed. But now it even changed more, because that battle don't nobody really talk about. Like, nobody's really trying to. I still don't think try to get used games. I think people just they play it on Game Pass. They'll buy it digitally if there's a good sale. Definitely when people are just like, oh, I'll just buy the digital version of PS5. Like maybe the physical version. I think the physical version of Series X is probably going to be bigger than the digital version. Where PlayStation 5, people are just like, I'll play everything on digitally. Like get the digital.
Well, according to the industry analysis, like both systems have a digital. Both systems are going to have a digitally only version of the system. And according to the analysis of it, that's getting a smaller allocation of builds. So for like, if they're making 1 million PS5s that are going to take physical discs, they're only making like, and this is a number I'm just pulling out of my hat. They're making like 200,000 of the digital only. They're making a smaller allocation because according to the analysis, it doesn't seem like digital has got its direct foothold yet. It's coming. It's getting bigger. And as these systems become more and more like PCs, you're going to see less and less physical media, because on the PC, I can't remember the last time I went out and bought a disc for a PC game.
Yeah, there's still that little sad section at Walmart of PC stuff. It's just like a little, metal rack.
Shelf. It's like one shelf on an end cap.
Yeah,
you still got Mahjong and like something for like $5.
Yeah. Those 70-year-olds who have PCs need somewhere to go get that Mahjong in solitaire.
Sudoku.
Jesse, what are your thoughts on the story?
So, like, I kind of had a whole big conversation with you. The thing is, like, my thought on this is, I think that, with Reggie from Nintendo, formerly from Nintendo, being on the board, and just I think more influence from people who know how the industry works and stuff on the board. I think honestly that there was some talkings with people like Reggie, who are friends with Phil Spencer and stuff like that. I think what we're seeing is similar to what happened with Xbox. It's gonna take some time, but I do think that they're going to try to turn the ship around. And they're trying to figure out a way that they can make GameStop be what it needed to be, but they needed time and money in order for that to be able to happen. My thing is, like I was saying to you, Ed, is, and I had said this on one of the previous shows, that we don't really have any, many Microsoft stores, and some of them have closed because of COVID. Now, instead of them trying to reopen stores back up, I can see where it may be more interesting for them to invest in stores that are staying open versus trying to open new stores back up. And because Microsoft does some really cool things for Xbox and stuff when it comes to events and things like that they do at their Microsoft stores, but most people can't do those things because they're not close to one. So what if they start having events like that are actually bringing fans of gaming together, like I feel like GameStop should have kind of been in the first place. We don't do a lot of people don't do the midnight game, buying and stuff like that really anymore. So they've got to have other events there that want to bring people to the stores. And if you come to the store, chances are you're going to buy something. I went to the store the other day. I picked up the Miles Morales. I was just there to waste time, but I happened to come in.
Was it a GameStop exclusive?
Yeah, well, it's the 2020 fall convention exclusive limited edition. It's cool. Every one is kind of got a different looking. They're not all exactly look the same because they kind of moved the art around on it, so they all kind of look different. But anyways, the thing I could see them doing more of that kind of stuff. And then I told you, like, for a little while there, Microsoft specifically, there are digital versions that are adorable and they're amazing of the physical versions of games that are like, like really small cases that are small versions of the regular size Xbox case for when you buy a physical game, but it's just got the code in it and it's really small and it's adorable and like I would love to collect them all, honestly, because it just looks cool. I think if they were to do more stuff like that, sell physical, those little small, like they could even make those cases like unique, like, different looking, like make them more, collectible kind of thing going on where it's special versions of them that people would want to have, and then that way you're getting something, because let's be honest, like a digital game costs just as much as a physical game, which makes no sense, because you're not getting a booklet, you're not getting a case, you're not getting, you're not spending all this money on making plastic. So why do I have to pay the same price if all it is a digital, file? So at least this way you could actually feel like you're getting something worth collecting, even though you're paying the same price for a digital copy of a game, And I think that would be kind of a cool way as well to like have that code. So like, let's say, they could make it where it's almost like a backup, where if something was to happen for some reason, like, whatever, that you could prove that you still own that game. Because like when you buy a physical game, if something were to happen to the file or something, that's all stored on their end. But what, like to be able to prove physically that you own
the license.
So, yeah. So I don't think that that's really a real issue, but I'm just saying, like, for people who feel like they need to have something that proves that they physically prove that they own something, like I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of things that could be done, and ultimately GameStop could be an amazing place to have, but it's just a matter of doing what needs to be done. And like LeRon said, they gotta adapt, and I think that maybe Microsoft knows something more than we do.
Oh, I feel like there's definitely something on the back end
to change it. So
I feel like there's definitely something else in the back end that we haven't heard or we haven't seen. Well, besides the fact that they gotta protect their financial figures and their stock profiles and stuff like that. But I guarantee you, there's more to this story. It's developing. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens by the end of the first year of Xbox Series X. We'll see what's going on.
Well, I think part of it too is isn't GameStop one of the places that's doing the 2-year whatever deal where
they are.
So
yes.
I think that's part of it too, is a lot of
assets. Yes,
the lease to own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a part of this is maybe them trying to reassure people that if you do that program through GameStop, we are making sure that they're still around and you don't have to worry about that later. I think maybe maybe Microsoft has kind of heard people's kind of chattering about being worried. Oh. So you're freezing and stuff on my screen, Ed. So,
yeah.
Yeah, my personal feelings aside about GameStop itself, I'm actually glad that they have the opportunity to continue to try and be viable and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not even going to kid myself. GameStop was a part of my video gaming ecosystem for a long while, even before I was employed and became a store manager at GameStop. So I'm actually happy that the company is able to continue hanging on, like I said, my personal feelings aside from things, but ultimately we just need to make sure that that my advice to GameStop is you guys have a lot of intelligent people there that run the company and stuff. Be more cognizant of which way the wind is blowing so you can move with it freely or move around it as best as possible. And therefore you won't have to scramble for things like this, and GameStop has been trying to sell. Corporate has been trying to sell GameStop for what, almost a little over 3 years now.
Yeah,
they've been trying to abandon ship. So this partnership with Microsoft, this is like a Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the funny thing is you're working, you're running a business built on gaming who has a lot of gaming fans. Literally all you need to do is talk to the people who are working at your stores. Mm-hmm. Talk to the people who are coming into your stores. They know, there are a lot of people like us that maybe don't have a podcast that know just as much as we do or more, that are going to these stores, that you could find out a lot of what would bring people like us into your stores more. Honestly, just do, they talked about giving them Surface tablets or whatever. You know what? Maybe say hey, if you answer these couple of questions, we'll give you 5% or 10% off of your next purchase. Try to give people incentives to want to help you.
Yes.
Understand what will bring people in more.
I was just about to say the same thing.
I am upset because I was considering purchasing stock in GameStop when the new consoles were being announced, and now I'm kicking myself because I should have purchased stock.
Well, everybody, we had a story about maybe a Silent Hill pitch being a follow-up, but we're gonna hold off that one to later. I really don't have nothing much to say about the GameStop Microsoft thing. I think it's a good thing. Pretty much LeRon and you, Jesse, you guys pretty much summed it up for me. I can't wait to see what more happens with it, because I definitely, when you was talking, Jesse, about the digital code thing, I was just I would like to see some cool exclusive box art that GameStop have for that digital code. That would be really cool, because for us collectors, even if we just buy a game, the craziness that we do for Switch of buying physical copies of the game, and we know that the code is not, there's just a game with a code with it. If it have a cool box art, we're going to buy it, and regardless of what the price is. And I would love for that to be happening with Microsoft. It's a GameStop exclusive. You get this awesome box, but inside the box, not only do you get a code, you get a pin for it, the little gaming pin and stuff.
Here's something, because it just hit me when you're talking about the gaming box and that. Okay, so the new Monster Hunter Rise is coming on in March, right?
Yeah.
They've got basically a partner version of the game where you buy a copy of the game, and you have a digital copy that you can give to a friend. And now just imagine, because that's like back when Blu-rays and DVDs had those digital codes that when you buy the movie, you also have a digital access code. We're eventually going to get to that point where in gaming where it's like that, and it's going to be phenomenal. Every once in a blue moon, you buy a game and it's here, you can also have the digital version of it. But just imagine when we get to a place where it's more commonplace.
LeRon,
yeah,
PlayStation was doing that before some of their games, some of the indie games. They were just
Xbox did that too.
Yeah, Xbox did it too. Yeah,
I'm just saying it's not ultimately commonplace. Okay,
bring it back.
Just think if 99% of the video games that are released right now, you get a digital copy of the game plus the physical if you buy physical.
Yeah, just similar to what they do with when you buy when you buy a vinyl or a CD sometimes nowadays, or like you said, I believe you said like Blu-ray, things like that. A lot of times you get like a lot of times even with the Disney movies, you get a Blu-ray, you get a regular DVD, and you get the digital copy of it.
Yep.
Like, like, I mean, yeah, because I remembered back in the day, MechAssault, I believe it was for Xbox, or it was one of those games where it came with 2 discs, and the second disc was a multiplayer disc only that you could give to a friend so they could pop it into their Xbox, and then you could play together without them having to own the game or having to play on one screen. So yeah.
Did we lose him again?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been having some issues with losing him, but
Well, we'll probably hang on to Silent Hill for somebody's rumor control segment in one of the upcoming podcasts. Let's see. So going into the Boss Rush podcast analysis,
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, I was just shotgunning for you.
Yeah, Skype is acting up on my side, and my internet dropped, and then came back. I think Skype was affected. It's acting weird. But thank you, LeRon. I'm sorry, Jesse. I'm sorry, you guys, for that. Hopefully everything.
No.
Yeah, but you were speaking
Jesse
about.
We were just running our mouths. That's all.
Yeah.
I apologize. But yeah, we're going to get into our BRP analysis. Thank you, LeRon, for starting it off. By E3 of next year, all 3 consoles should be set with a quality of games. Do you think people will be pleased with the purchases they made? Now, I put not subscriptions, purchases, because I know Game Pass.
I'm glad you said that. And PlayStation Plus collection. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be shady, but because like even regardless of we got Switch Pro or anything, we know that Nintendo has been running a good thing of quality of games and everything. I kind of want to know that by E3 of next year, a lot of PlayStation 5, a lot of Series X, and still maybe some Xbox One and PC games. A lot of things will be out by E3. So do you guys think that we'll really have a nice solid lineup for next year of games to play?
I think so because out the gate, like, okay, I want to say like the landscape of gaming got really good when 360 and the PS3 arrived. And now developers kind of know, they kind of know what the gamers want. Sometimes that means we get the exact same game in a different skin, but they pretty much know what the gamers want, what we like, and things like that. So I think going into the second year of the life cycles for the consoles is going to be just glorious as far as like gaming goes. And there's going to be innovation because more and more indie developers are doing their thing now and taking. My Switch has officially become my indie console. and it's crazy because I thought my PC was my indie console, honestly, but it's the Switch. But and so stuff like that's happening. The landscape of gaming is continually changing, and it's getting better and better just for everybody. Like if you like video games, whether you're playing Farmville, which is no longer a thing, or you're playing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, stuff like that, it doesn't matter. Like games are getting great, and I think that I do like how the question is framed. Like, how do you think will people be happy with the purchases they've made? I'm going to say yes, because after we get past this whole hype, and after we get past this whole like the systems are scarce to find and stuff like that, once everybody gets their consoles, they're gonna be like, man, like there's so much stuff to play. Hey, wait, there's a backlog of games that we missed from the last console generation that are here on these consoles that we can still play. So it's going to be great, and I think everyone's going to be very happy with their purchases. No one's going to be like, "Oh, I'm trading my Xbox Series X in. There's no games," because they're all on the PC. But yeah, basically, I think everybody's going to be happy with their purchases.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I think the thing is, and I always say this, is I know a lot of people like to go on and on and on about how much, like exclusives and stuff matter, about a console. But, when it comes down to it, throughout the whole entire generation, most of the games that I play are third party like that. Like, for me, it's less about the exclusives and more about what platform that I want to play on. So, like, I'm going to be perfectly fine because there's going to be so many, exclusives and then there's going to be indies and third party, and there's just going to be so much stuff coming out that I like we have these little drought things, if you want to call it, all the time, but we're still out there finding games that we want to buy during those droughts. So I'm not too worried about it. Like, it's a new generation. We're going to have, some time where, people are trying to work on doing something, more towards the new hardware. That's why you're seeing a lot of these games now, like, will be on PS4 and, as much as, and, not to take shots at them, but as much as they wanted to get that whole message out there of, we're about, moving forward with the concept, with the generation, it never moves forward right away. It never does. It never has. It never will. There'll always be those games that are stuck between the generations for the first couple of years, because it takes a long time to make a game. So, like, you can't just say all of a sudden we're not going to be doing this generation. Like we had there's like one game for each console right now that's really truly doing something, that these new generations can only handle, like, right? And that's, you got Ratchet and Clank, and you've got, the Medium for Xbox that, those games just wouldn't be able to play, I don't think, on the old consoles. But but you're not going to have much of that, and that was basically like almost like a demo, like probably built around demo stuff for the new tech that they had been kind of working on, early on in the stages of figuring out how they want the consoles to be, running and built. So
and I think definitely when you look at Microsoft obtaining like Bethesda and all of their first party studios, I think they're going to be releasing great quality content of games depending on what people prefer to play. The same thing's going to go for Nintendo. The same thing's going to go for PlayStation. We got Horizon, God of War, and probably some more titles that's going to be coming from Sony's side. For Nintendo, we got Breath of the Wild 2, we got Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, and some other titles that we're looking for Xbox.
Not to mention new content for a lot of these games that I'm sure they will continue to support, and and because that's something that I feel like we see a lot more of early on in the beginning of a new console generation, just because they want to, like, still honor those games while they're trying to figure out what their next project is. They have people who will kind of update and give a little bit more stuff for the previous game while they work on the new games. So.
Right, and I think like Halo Infinite, Hellblade 2, Avowed, and by the time like Grounded and even Flight Simulator, I think like Microsoft is building up a strong first party. If everything of those games come out or show something by E3, there's going to be a strong thing. I just and I don't know if Luke's going to answer this, but I think I want to know, how do you envision Microsoft by holiday? PlayStation at this time, I'm not focusing on, even not Nintendo, I'm focusing on. I think with Microsoft for this holiday, they're probably going to have a strong holiday in 21 because of all of their studios making like smaller games and bigger games. I think it's going to be something out there for people to purchase. If you want to play it on Game Pass, you can. But purchasing wise, I think they're going to have a lot going forward. And definitely with third party indies, if we continue to get that great content, a lot of people, like you said, LeRon, they're going to play a lot of indies on Switch. And, you know, and just even looking at them, just like we see the numbers, like Always Quest, it's a Metroidvania game that came out on Switch. They just reported once again that their game did better on on Switch than they did on Steam. And it's gonna be, I think, the same thing probably did with Hades. They shot the #1, where more people bought that game on Switch than they did on Epic. And I think that's still gonna continue into 21 by E3.
I mentioned earlier with Hades. The problem with Hades was I didn't get it on PC because it was an early access game. Like I get a little skittish about games that are still under development, but you can go ahead and spend a certain amount of money and play the game now. Like I always get skittish on it. That's why when PUBG was being built up, I wasn't really into that. And it's just one of those things. So yeah, Hades is doing well on the Switch because Hades on PC looks wonderful. But the portability factor of Hades, on the Switch is just something else, Like I said earlier, I'm sitting in my dark bedroom with my Switch, the only light source in my room because I'm playing Hades.
and it's the same thing that happened with Dead Cell. Dead Cell had been on Steam for like ever, and then it came to Switch and PlayStation, and more people bought it for Switch physically. It shot up like crazy, and that's all for almost 2 months. Even with, I think that was the year Link's Awakening and stuff. With all that craziness of getting that was when Fire Emblem Awakening and then Astral Chain came out. That was 19. Ooh, good googly moogly Nintendo. What were you doing?
Okay.
Like breaking
with games like Dead Cells and Katana Zero and stuff like that. I knew I was gonna buy them on a handheld on the Switch because, in all honesty, like with my ultra wide monitors and my big television, there's no way those games gonna look good on those big 4K screens. No,
but
honestly, it makes sense how certain games sell in certain places. It does. Like it might seem like coincidence and stuff like that, but it's part of a design. The indies are going to put indie developers are going to put their games out everywhere they can get them out. Like they want as much saturation as possible because for some people, like what was that game a few weeks ago that you were like, what's questionable content, Ed? What was it? It just arrived on Switch and it's been out for a while on PC.
Was it the Postal or no?
No, not Postal. It was a week before Postal. It was like a Splatterhouse arcade type game.
Was it with the pimp one that I showed?
Yes. No. It was a few. It was but long story short though, like whatever game it was, like after we kind of like talked and laughed at it and stuff, I did a little bit of research on it, and the company when I hit the About Us, like the company, there's like this game was their love letter to video games. Like this was a passion project for them. It's the only game on this company's resume and stuff like that. So yeah, when you put it in perspective, like a lot of the indie developers.
Because it was that beat 'em up game that I had on PlayStation 4. Continue.
Yeah, but a lot of indie developers are just trying to get their game out into as many hands as possible. So that's why it usually comes out on PC first, because like that's the easiest market to break into. And then once it has some sales on Steam or Epic Game Store or whatever, then when they turn around and start porting it over to the consoles, then it's easier to say, hey, this game has had this many sales on Steam. This game has had this many sales, and it's a little easier to swallow for console gamers and stuff like that. And that's my take on it. And I'm pretty sure there's a little bit more involved behind it, but a lot of times these indie games, like there's a scheme to it. Ultimately Hades found a good home on the Switch. I'll say that much. The game I'm looking forward to next week, Foregone, is going to have a wonderful home on my Switch. Because I'm getting that sucker.
I still need to look at the trailer for Foregone. Why do I keep forgetting on how that game looks? I'm
God, I'm about to throw it into the chat right now. Jeez, come on, man.
I apologize because like everything that everybody throws in the chat, everything that people like when Jesse throw out a game, when you throw out a game, when Logan, like I'm like, oh, why haven't I seen this? Why no one tell me about it? And you know me, I'll go get it in a heartbeat. I would try it out. So go ahead, Jesse.
Speaking of so what have your guys' thoughts been on Watch Dogs Legends after these Legions after these recent trailers that got released?
I'm still a little lukewarm to it. I'm not saying I won't. I'm not saying I won't play it because I as an IP, like I do like the Watch Dogs. I haven't played the second one yet. I did grab the free version. Actually, I grabbed both the free versions that was given out on EGS as well as Uplay. But I haven't actually installed and played it yet. But I did like it. And everyone talks crap about the first Watch Dogs game because I guess the character wasn't all that relatable and stuff. But I actually loved was it Aiden Pierce or Adrian Pierce?
Yeah.
I love that character.
It was
that's the thing with the first games. I was, I didn't really care too much about the stories as I was more interested in the gameplay. Mm-hmm. Whereas with this new game, I'm actually more interested in the story than I am the gameplay after seeing these last trailers. Like, I'm just curious, like, what exactly is going on. I mean, we kind of know what's going on from that trailer, but at the same time, we really don't. And so I'm curious. I'm more curious now about what this game is.
I think I'm going to pick up and I'm going to buy it and I'm going to play it. I don't really have any thoughts on it because Watch Dogs 2 was better than 1. Something about the characters and the gameplay in Watch Dogs 2 was better. I know the controversy with Watch Dogs 1 is it didn't look what they presented. And that's that Ubisoft kind of problem thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I have Watch Dogs 1 on PS4. I have 2 on Xbox, and I'm gonna get 3 on Xbox. I just don't have no.
I'll be getting 3 for free when my RTX 3080 comes.
Nice.
It's bundled with the Nvidia cards.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I think I'm gonna do it for a review. Because the premise is interesting. I like what they're doing with it. It's just not catching on to me for some reason, like any other games. Okay, so this is gonna sound contradicting, but yes, I would if that game and Cyberpunk had dropped, I wouldn't even touch Watch Dogs Legions. Cyberpunk was an automatic yes. If they both dropped at the same day. But I think I'm gonna pick it up when it comes out. I'm gonna give it a go and try to play it all the way through. It's just something about it's not speaking to me. I like what they've been showing. That's not actual gameplay, I'm assuming. But playing it, I feel like that old Ubisoft open world gameplay is gonna come into play, and it might get a little bit boring and stale if they don't really change it up. I still, for some other reason, when I think of open world games, of crime open world games, I should say, sandbox games, you have to have the mentality of being on the level of Sleeping Dogs. Anything below that really doesn't hold up justice to me when it comes to open world games. Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn are completely different games because those games are perfect in their own sense. They don't need to be touched. But I'm going to be I'll see when that game comes.
Yeah, there is actual gameplay of Watch Dogs out because there's people have had it early already and been playing it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's part of the thing too. Is I've also heard some people talk a little bit about it as well, which has helped get an understanding of more about that game. So I suggest just checking out some of the actual gameplay because there was gameplay footage in those trailers, but it was more, you know, how they kind of splice and do the whole actiony kind of feel for the trailer. But yeah, there is gameplay out there, people playing it and stuff. So
Jesse, when we was talking about Call of Duty, and then we'll end the show. When we was talking about Call of Duty and about delay about it, I'm like, I love when you mentioned it to say that I hope the story is strong, like Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare story is good. That game
that's the other game that I want to go back and play over again and stream, because that is such a good. Oh my God, is that such a good campaign?
The only level that I did not like in that game was that stealth level where you had to be in a green and sneak around. I didn't like that for some reason.
See, I liked that. I loved it.
You want to know what the action in the gameplay in the action, just the level base in Modern Warfare was so top notch. It was on the level of doing what Advanced Warfare did for me when I just rented for Advanced Warfare. If you have not played that game, I love that story and that gameplay. It felt really good. I'm just like, now this is the Call of Duty that I like. Modern Warfare story is like, it's so good. I think the daughter, when you're playing as the little girl, that level is better than what that's better than the stuff one. But like when you're just level basing it, it's just the shooting and action in Modern Warfare is so good. Now I did uninstall it because that the multiplayer was just taking up too much space.
Well, yeah, you can uninstall just the multiplayer part and keep the campaign on your console. But that part though, when you're going through the apartment complex, clearing room to room, that part, it just felt so intense. You felt like you're there.
Yeah. But everybody, we want to know what you guys think. If you go as like whatever console that you guys are picking up or that you own, we want to know what you guys think. By E3, are you going to be happy with the games that you purchased? Even games that came out this year that you decide to get for next year. We want to know what you guys think. You can email the show at bossrushpodcast at gmail.com. bossrushpodcastpro@gmail.com. I might have said it wrong, so excuse me. You guys could check out Crossroads. You guys could check out Arsenal X. Crossroads go live on Tuesdays. Arsenal X goes live on Sundays. Nintendo Pop Lock goes live on Mondays. Each of them are around like at 7:30, 8:30 p.m. So you guys could check us out. Also check out Trash Talk, Boss Rush Podcast sports show. I would say teaming up with Logan and Austin. You guys can check that on Wednesday. Tower Casual, which is a great episode that you guys should really check out. Their new exotics was shown. I love that sword. Okay. So before we end it, I do love the new weapons for Destiny 2. I will say that it has such an Insomniac feel to it. I was just like, who is Insomniac took their designs from Resistance 3 or a Resistance game that never got made and put it into Destiny. That's how it feels. It looks really, really good. So you guys can check that out. Our good friend Dan, his 1v1 is out with Celeste, so do also check that out. And of course, everybody continue to check out Boss Rush Podcast. Check us live on Saturdays, or if you guys cannot see us, like I said, check us out on Mondays. Sorry for the technical difficulties that this episode has been happening. If you guys have seen it, I apologize. You can't do nothing when the internet is acting the fool, and when Skype is not acting right neither. Come on, Microsoft. You got money to put in all this technology.
Is Jason Schreier running your internet right now?
He probably is. He's writing a story about it. But everybody, where can we find you, LeRon?
Okay, you can catch me on all sorts of social media at Exodus803. That's EXODUS803, and that's also my Twitch handle. So check me out there. I promise you, I am streaming. I'm just trying to redo my schedule.
Yes, Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
You guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code. Check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud. I just found some new theme music, so I will be coming back with new episodes. The first one that I'm going to do, and I'm going to see what you guys going to think about this one. So I'm going to put it out there. Can Sony and Nintendo ever work again? And it's going to be a good discussion talking about each of their successes, and could both companies ever like get back together and make something. It's going to be an interesting episode that you guys will be able to check out soon. I do apologize. I have been going away from doing Optional Opinion because I have made kind of Boss Rush my priority in things and working a lot. So you guys can check that out. I believe Logan is going to have a review of Star Wars Squadron up soon. So you guys can read that and everything. But everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. As always, continue to play video games and be better one another. Do continue to check to see if you're registered to vote, because voting is coming up. And when November 3rd comes, I would love to see everybody who is able to vote. Post your pictures up on Twitter or on Facebook saying that you voted. I don't care who you vote for. That decision is up to you, but I really want you guys to get out there and vote. We have seen the debates and we have seen what people have said and stand for. So it's going to be up to us to go out there and make our voice be heard. It's really important. Really, really important. With that, everybody, we will see you next time on Boss Rush Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
And also, shout out to our boss man, Corey, for producing the show. Bye, everybody.